Hello there and welcome to another A Tippling Philosopher video. I'm going to speak to you today about philosophy because, hey, that's what I do. And this is actually from a quote that was, or not a quote, a comment that was put on one of my YouTube videos recently, which was about the experience machine thought experiment. So just to quickly recap, an experience machine would be something like in the Matrix where you're plugged into a machine, right? And you are given all the stimuli, the stimulations of life, all the sense data that is being tapped into your brain directly is a kind of virtual reality existence. But in this way, you don't actually suffer at all. You don't have pain, or you can control the amount of pain to an optimal level, or whatever, however you want to play this out. The idea is you could eradicate pain and suffering in the world and have everyone plugged into experience machines that they wouldn't know they were in experience machines, just like the Matrix, and you'd be living a life that was actually you just lying down in a machine, but all your experiences being given to you by the machine. This is based on Descartes' evil demon idea, where Descartes was trying to work out what we knew indubitably to be factual. And the only thing he could say with 100% certainty was cogito ergo sum, which is I think therefore I am. In order to doubt that I exist, the thinking entity, which is I, however you define that, exists, right? So something about me exists. There's some kind of meanness exists in order to experience, in order to doubt. So what this then breeds are a load of like really interesting thought experiments, the Matrix being one of them, which is, just like Descartes said with an evil demon, putting dreams into your mind. You don't know exactly what is true and what isn't with what you sense. All that you can be certain is that you are sensing. So we don't know that this isn't just a complete dream world, some kind of simulated reality, brain in a vat, whatever. Okay, so imagine you are being put into a virtual reality machine, if you like, and your entire existence is being put, directly put into your brain, and you live a really happy, fulfilled life. And the question I asked before was, would this be better than going through the daily challenges and pain and suffering of real life? And is it any less real since we already use things to alter our reality, like glasses, like chips in our body, maybe like pacemakers? We can have brains that are different from a neurotypical brain, that color blindness or autism or whatever it is that changes your perception of reality. We already have our own experience machines, our brains that take in the sense data and interpret things in a way that is a reality for us and us alone, but isn't any kind of objective reality. So the idea of what's better to live in a virtual reality machine or the real life is a more complex question than you might think. Anyway, the comment that Fliprim, or however you pronounce that, put, I think is really good onto the video, and I read it out. He says, or she says, in one profound sense, Kant was right to consider human minds as experience machines, with phenomena as our only means of access to the Ding an sich, the thing in itself, the noumenon, ultimate reality. So just to explain, Kant would say that we can't know things in themselves, the Ding an sich. So, I don't know what it feels like to be a bat. I can't know that book over there or that table, because I'm not that thing. All I can do is experience it through my sense data, and that is the experience machine of my brain, and there you go. So he continues, we effortlessly adapt to new layers of signaling that interpose between our narrow human-sized phenomenological window and a reality scaled more than 13 orders of magnitude larger and smaller than it. My 1-ton super walking prosthetic on wheels has me feel the road sensually. The silk of that new M4 stretch past Reading. This guy's obviously British because that's a motorway that drives past Reading. The horrid harsh bits of the M25 concrete. My travel prosthetic is me, my cognition extended. It's the idea that his car, he gets a feedback loop, or she, of the car on the road, and the car then becomes an extension of their body, and thus becomes part of them. Even my cognitions, they continue, of wellness feel the same. An unexpected lurch. Am I unwell? A tendon gone? A tyre burst? This is a critical difference, however. If the layers interposed comprise physics, we can extend ourselves indefinitely outwards by means of them. If, however, they comprise agency, mind of its own, I suspect we may need to subdue our own sense of individual self. Right, this is such a cool comment. And the reason why it's a cool comment is because it gets me thinking, and it should get you thinking, which is, how far do we take this? And this is at the end of the comment. How far can you take this, and where can you map it back? Which is our sense of self. How far can we extend that? If we had feedback loops, I mean, it depends what the capacity of our brains are for sense data, but we could connect ourselves, in this case it's to a car, and you have the feeling like you and the car are one. And you're getting feedback data from the car, and the car is you're traveling, it's doing things that you, in the same way that I say, right, if my brain sends a signal to my finger to bend like this, then I'm getting that sort of feedback data that makes me feel like the finger is part of me. But if I cut my finger off, right, I'm still me. I still have everything in my brain and all the feelings of me, but now I have a lack of finger sense to that. So me now becomes me minus a finger. Okay, that's interesting. So when I then use my finger to pull down the indicator, and the indicator on the car goes, or the hazard lights, I press the hazard lights, that is just an extension of my signals going on and outwards. So where I was talking about, this is me doing this, my finger is doing this, now my car is indicating, because I've sent a signal that actually goes on past my finger into the car mechanics, and the car is kind of an extension of me. How far can you take that out? If you're getting feedback loops, you know, as it indicates, it's tick, tick, tick. I can hear, I can see the lights flashing, but I can also even feel maybe the tick, tick, tick of the indicator light clicking on the steering wheel, maybe, or there could be some kind of other haptic feedback. How far do you take that, and how far can you strip it back? So I've talked about losing my finger. If I lose an arm, am I still me? Yes. And yada yada yada. How far can you take that back? Until is our sense of self really dependent upon and emergent from our brain? So can we be brains in vats? Is that as far as you can take it, the brain? And then you can imagine, well, then let's build it out again. So if you take that brain and then put it in some technologically advanced, I mean, we're doing thought experiments and futurizing here, but imagine you could then put that into some bionic body, which isn't flesh and blood, but has all the same, does all the same stuff, is advanced enough to do all the same stuff as our amazing biological systems can do, our physiological systems. You could plug the brain into some massive mechanistic thing, whether it be a car or some bigger giant robot thing, and that feedback loop, your sense of self is now, as you're looking around, you're some giant titan of a robot, and that will be just as much a sense of self that you would have as you in your present biological body. You know, is it that we are just the brains, and the physiological body gives us a sense of self that is complete in our body, because it's giving you constant feedback, and there's this feedback loop going on with all the parts of your body. But you can take those parts of your body away and you can change them into other things, and you still have this sense of self that includes the extended body or the bionic body or whatever it is. You know, we can even do that now, as I was explaining, to an extent with driving a car, where that car becomes an extension of you, and you can feel that the car, and actually, you know, someone crashes into the car, it's crashing into you, and there's all sorts of stuff going on with the sense of who you are. I think it's fascinating, really fascinating, plugging yourself into a virtual reality machine, your sense of self, like an actual virtual reality machine in reality now, like, you know, some kind of PlayStation 4 virtual or Oculus, whatever, virtual reality, your sense of self is really distorted, and you get sort of feedback loops, kind of feedback from things that you are doing in a simulated reality. So you could have like a whole invented like mechanistic body that isn't even mechanistic, it's virtual, but you're getting these feedback sensations that make you believe it's all part of you, and your sense of self is warped. I mean, there's so many fascinating things that you can think about that come out of this comment. It's such a cool comment. Thank you for making me think about this stuff. This is brilliant. What do you think? You know, how far can you take your sense of self, and how much can you strip that sense of self back? And that's something I want to come to later, which is, can you have a brain absent of any sense data at all? And that's a totally different discussion, but it's also, it leads on to a priori, a posteriori conversations and other philosophy, but I want to do that in another video. But for now, you know, extending and stripping back your sense of self, how far can you take that, and what are the ramifications? I love it. Good stuff. Keep the comments coming, and hopefully with interesting ones like that I'll get to interact. Brilliant. Question everything, and please like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. Thank you very much.